Scott Bailey. It gives me great pleasure to be sharing with you today another haircut in our series with the wonderful Harriet. So we'll be doing a pixie cut today around the bottom part of the cut predominantly, and then leaving some length through the top. Now this is where it slightly changes because we'll be using a protractor shape to enhance the cut. And when I say protractor shape, how that angle works with the protractor is how the cut will be delivered. So we'll be working part of the protractor into the back, part of the protractor into the sides, and then again through the top. So we'll be concentrating primarily on short to long in the top, and then we'll be working a lot of asymmetricalness in this. We'll be going shorter on this side to longer on that side, and then working this wonderful colour that's through with texture on there. The nice thing about sharing these cuts with you is that we are literally sharing what we do in the salon, or I do, which is a classic cut with a commercial feel. So I hope you will learn something from it and be able to share it with others. Hi, so every haircut starts with a journey. I like to use the Fat Muk Blowout Mousse. Great product to work with as a cutting lotion. So today I'm going to use this as a cutting lotion. For number of two reasons. The first one being that it displaces to conditioner when it obviously is left to sort of dry, and also I'm using it as a cutting lotion to be able to see the natural fall in the hair on Harriet's hair, which is what I really want to see. We'll start with the horseshoe section and then we'll go into the cut. So again, dividing a haircut is really important. So we'll work from the recession through to the parietal ridge and back around to the other side again to allow me to asymmetrical the haircut, which is really important to divide this haircut in half so I know exactly what I'm going with there. Okay, so when you start a haircut, you should divide everything up and get it nice and clean. So I always think clean sections, clean haircut. When you start with this haircut, everybody predominantly takes sections that are going down from the top to the bottom. This haircut changes quite a lot the way I do it. I use the protractor shape as it works. So I place it into the back of the head and that will give me the shape, and I shall also use that when I come through to the sides. So first of all, I'll divide this to the back of the ear, because the reason being when it's at an angle like that, you'll see when we put the protractor in the back, so we're working in this quadrant area. I'm going to work from 6, we're going to be using time, this is how it works, it's time, so 6, 7, 8, 9. So by the time I get from 6, it will go round to 7, to 8, to 9, just there. So you can see now the angle's starting to change, which comes into that, and that's how it works through again, and goes into another protractor, which is that then cuts through, it will come onto the hair and soften it off. So you don't need to mess around, because basically this technique works really well. The other thing to remember is the knuckles are going into the neck as you're doing it, because again what it's doing is it's taking the corner off, which most of you as hairdressers will be thinking, I want to take the corner off. The reason I'm taking the corner off is because A, it lasts longer on the haircut, and B, it gives it a much stronger shape, and you can see that shape is what we're after, that strong shape. So just to recap, the hand's going round, but the knuckles are staying in. got to this point here of using the protractor shape, which we did earlier, you can see that from 6 to 9. The hand is the actual template of the shape to go through. So this is 6, 7, 8, 9, pulling it towards your body position where you stand. You now repeat that process again with parts of it. See how the sections move? So the protractor again will turn slightly, so the sections will come round. Now, as that works, as this kind of turns slightly, the shape is going onto the face automatically, so you're getting that softness on the face. It's all down to the degree of the knuckle, so you can either go in with the knuckle, which takes it short. In this case, Harriet wants to keep length and preserve it on this side, so we'll bring the knuckle out, which will then keep the length here and the length in the bottom, but produce a really strong shape. So by turning the hand slightly, that gives us the shape more onto the face, as opposed to being in a situation where you cut it traditionally, which would be the hair coming down, which you'll have to then force around. This automatically does it for you. So this side will be cut with the protractor, so it'll be from 6 o'clock to 3 o'clock. The way that works is, you can see 6, 5, 4, 3. So the section will go along at an angle there. This time the fingers go into the neck, which then gives the weight line and the strong shape in the neck. As we get through to the sides here, which we'll revisit again in a minute, the shape then comes through again, but we're going in this time tighter with the fingers, which will take it closer to the head, which will then give us weight line here, but stronger shape there. So now we're going to be working from this part of the haircut through to that part, so we're moving round slightly. So again, we bring the section in a minute, we'll be bringing this round, so this really will, now you'll see this a little bit shorter through here and on the other side, which is what we've already got. Okay, so now moving on with the haircut, we've removed the shape line on the back and sides. We're now going to remove the weight line that sits around just below the parietal ridge. So I'll take that away, we'll do the back corner after that to give us the shape, and then proceed through to the front. Again, this is really important. A lot of people tend to round the haircut. When I say that, they start to round the hands. It's better to keep it squared up and keep the weight. So if you imagine you're putting a weight line through the top area, so then you can decide if you want to take that weight off eventually and put a rounded layer in. So it's best to go with the weight line first. Alright, so again, really important to think about what we're doing here, because we've got an area that some people may get confused with. So again, it's keeping it square, but working the same sections as before what we were working with. So thinking about the hand placement as it was previous, and we're now continuing with that shape again. Alright, so we're now going to work with the back section of the haircut. So we're working from the apex, which is the upper part of the head. It divides the front to the back, and we'll be working a pie section through the back section to connect what we've already cut, which is shorter here, to connect the top longer. Really important to think about how the arm's working when you're doing this, because the arm dictates what is going on with the haircut. So too much down, you create too much drag on the top. So we have to really think about where we're going in terms of position. I tend to stand from the right hand side when I cut it, and then move over to the left hand side, because that way I can get more control of the hair, as opposed to standing with my back towards the customer, which I think is better if you're facing forward at all times. Alright, so we've now reached the most important part of the haircut. Not only the perimeters are important, but this also is very important as well. Now working with a protractor shape on the haircut, which is really important. So if you imagine we get the protractor and we place it on the top of the head, because predominantly this haircut is cut in a protractor shape, as we said earlier on. The back's cut in a protractor shape, the other quadrant on the corners are cut in a protractor, the back is cut in a protractor shape. Now we're coming towards the front. So this is doing two things. It's going literally funning round as we're cutting, and it's going short to long as well. So we're literally going short to long to preserve the fringe at the front, but we're creating the channel as we're doing it, as we're going around. Predominantly everybody's used to cutting this way, which is fine, but there's a lot of hair and a lot of weight. This removes weight, but also makes it so that the hair gives it texture with the cut, and also I can control the weight distribution a lot better as well when I'm doing it. So we'll start from the top and work our way round. if you're fortunate enough, because I love scissors and I love cutting, if you're fortunate enough to own a pair of curved scissors, which produce a concave, convex shape, we're after a slight convex shape on this front section, which will be the same as the shape as an eyeball. So I'll drop that in as well. So removing, there's the length, there's the length, there's the weight. Texture and weight are really important when you're cutting hair. You tend to find when you've got a lot of hair on the top, you need to put as much lift into it as you can. So one of the things I tend to also do, I'll share with you today, is take a section of hair randomly, twist it with your hand, and then what you're doing is scoring the blade into different areas. What that will do is take a little bit of hair out, but because we've got a beautiful colour to work with, it gives us more lift. So as we get towards the end of the 6-week period, it still gives us lift in there and also allows the hair to move naturally. Coming towards the blow dryer now, so again really important to use fat Muk blowout mousse, because again I think that this adds a lot more to what we're doing. With Harry's hair we're going to get a lot of lift in there, so we need to help it with some of this. I love using product to give lift, Savage Muk, just to place in there, again to give us a bit of texture and help with the blow dry. You may want to cocktail these two together, for me they work really, really well. Again, my favourite dryer of choice, the Muk dryer. You'll see me here work with the hair the way it wants to go, and then what I'll do then is I'll start to lift the top. You'll see me work the brush a little bit in my hands. It's all a question of getting something quite natural and something lived in. Okay, so now into personalisation. It's really using thinning scissors to replicate where we've been with the cut. So we're just revisiting everything as we started at the beginning of the process. We'll then add a little bit more texture to the top. We'll really work through the sides with a pair of clippers just to soften that off again, just to bring out the softness of the Pixie feel to the cut, and also into the neck, so it can really enhance that. And I might just lift up afterwards and just get the clippers and just cut into that as well, just to give it even more texture. Next product to choice, Hot Muk 6-in-1 spray. One of the best things I love about this is the fact that it's a finishing spray as well. People tend to use it to straighten hair with, but I tend to use it because it's quite it grips the hair and gives it a lot of movement, and I just think it gives it a bit more of a lifting look. So we'll get this in first. I tend to see what the hair's doing while I do this, because what I'm doing is I'm checking my cut off as well at the same time. So I like to see where it's going, what it's doing. Last product of choice, Savage Muk. Again, to work this through on the fingers, pick out bits on the sides, work it into the neck, just to get that finish.